seems way better. All right, good afternoon. What is it? Tuesday, Pi Day, 3/14, March 14th. Another interesting day on Wall Street. Pretty clear that everybody was positioned for a very hot CPI. It was hot. It wasn't very hot, but when everybody's in puts going into the day, it's just not good. It's not good for sellers. We initially sold off on the number and then immediately rallied back and then just tore shorts a new one. But in true form, nothing goes up straight up every day. And we kind of peaked out middle of the morning, and then the old this thing's doing its leak out. The old for fuck's sake. You know what's funny is that sellers gonna get the market green during the day, so they try to hit it after hours. Just fucking grow a pair already, right? Jeez Louise. So middle of the morning came around and it was kind of a what I call it, the headline assault day, where it's not going well for shorts. The big funds are out of position. Market makers need to make their money back because they're getting stretchered. And they'll start recycling the old headlines, the ones that shift sentiment in the market during the day. And the first one was the day started with Meta news that they're cutting 10,000 jobs and really streamlining their business. They're going to add about $1 to EPS, which is massive. That's huge. And all the rage the past couple of months has been cutting workforce, which is, essentially bad news, but the good type of bad news that the market wants. The Fed wants less people in the workforce, and that's how you do it. You have these big ass companies trim a bunch of workers, and that's the old bad news is good news scenario. Anyways, Meta's up $13 today, up 7%. But when Apple's headline hit that they're reducing, or they delaying bonuses and a hiring freeze, that sold it off. It sold it off right when we're about to break out, which is classic. They do this all the time. If this was any other company at the time, it would have rallied on the news, but it didn't. It tanked. It went all the way red. It took the market from about 39.72 all the way down to 39.12. But in the meantime, we kind of bounced and tried to rally back. And then right when we're about to hit an inflection point around 39.37, another headline came out that Russia basically pissed on one of our drones and it crashed into the Black Sea. No more information. No one knows about it. Now, a little bit later, then we're going to recover and we condemn Russia. Sounds like a load of bullshit to me. Sounds like another what do they call it? Red flag incident. Trying to stoke war, and sounds like BS. Anyways, that hit the tape, and that's what really drove us down to that 39.13 area. But if you're short in the market the past 2 days, you're probably loving it, and then you should really love it when we're 150 points higher. But again, sellers fumbled the ball, couldn't get us red. It was just too much too much power today. It was too much power. Then it kind of looked like what's interesting actually is so Carl Icahn's been short this market for a while. He was on NBC. He doesn't make a lot of public appearances, but market sold off, and actually the low was basically when he came on TV, and everybody knew he was going to come on and talk shit about the market because he's got these puts and he thinks the market's in trouble and all this other good stuff. What's funny is right when he came on TV, we made a little bit of a low, and then we started rallying back, and then the MOC came out. MOC is market on close. It's order. It's how many orders are for buying or selling in the market for the last 2 minutes of trading, and that number fluctuates. Sometimes it's a few hundred million to sell, a few hundred million to buy, and that's just kind of spread out amongst a bunch of names. This one came out at 4 billion to buy. A billion's a lot. 4 billion is massive. So the first indication comes out 10 minutes before the bell, and then it kind of is live there. You can watch it. Sometimes they'll kind of, I don't want to say spook the market, but they will, say, there's a billion to buy. But then as it gets closer to the actual close, it'll pair off. So it'll end up being like, 100 million to buy, or sometimes it'll flip and be at, 100 million to sell. It doesn't really, when it's that small, it doesn't really move the market much, but 4 billion's pretty massive. And it stayed 4 billion all the way through the close. The S&P in the last 10 minutes rallied 25 points. Basically from the icon low to the high, it rallied 49 points. At 250, it was 3,900. It closed at 3,919. So 20 in the last 10 minutes. That's a big ass move. And it's interesting considering all things considering. We had more. There were some pretty nasty reversals out there. The KRE regional banking ETF opened at 50.49 and literally just sold off all day. Literally all day, just heavy sellers all day. FRC was opened at 55, same thing, sellers all day. Couldn't get its head above water. Actually halted a few times. WAL, same thing. The bigger banks kind of held tough. Goldman Sachs didn't really do much today. Did open at highs, then did sell off, but held its ground for the most part. And then tech obviously was the main reason we held up all day. But 4 billion to buy on the close is kind of telling, because middle of the day and all these reversals, especially in the banks, it was, well, who knows what. It seems like someone else is going under tonight. But then with a $4 billion market on close, I mean, I don't know what to think now. So, and that's, the goal of the market is to make you fucking confused, scared, and unaware. But, so we'll see what happens tomorrow. I think PPI tomorrow. CPI came in a little warm, but I don't think that mattered based on all the positioning that was there. When you have these big events come up, especially after, last week when all these banks blew out, everybody, this could be a contagion event and market could crash hard. So you're positioned for puts. You're positioned for the downside with puts. And then you have this event, CPI, coming up, which is a huge event. So that usually has premiums elevated in options. So everybody's kind of positioned for that. And then, unless the CPI came out scorching hot, it was almost like it didn't matter. It was just, well, that event's over. It's not horrible. and we're all short, and none of these banks failed overnight. So we need to cover, and cover they did. Charles Schwab was on TV today. He didn't look too happy, but interestingly enough, the CEO bought 50,000 shares of his own stock with his own cash this morning, which, let's see, it was at 2.5 mil, I think. I mean, I don't care how rich you are, that's no small chunk of change. Let's see. Almost $3 million, a little over $3 million of his own cash right into it. Basically said no one understands how their business works and they're totally fine. It was up 10% today. That's, he looked pissed off, and I don't disagree. I mean, his stock got fucking smoked from 77 down to 50, so 46 even was a low, but a little bit reassuring knowing, $110 billion company. That was, I think, the other day too. I think it was at like 140 or $150 billion company is not going to go under overnight. So there's a little bit of relief there that this thing might not be as big as potentially it could have been. But the market's pretty wild day, to be honest. Another thing I wanted to touch on was Bitcoin. Bitcoin had a massive day, and then it didn't anymore. Bitcoin over the last 2-3 days went from 19,750 to 26,500. That's a big old jump. And kind of what has been happening is all these people, not all of them, but a lot of these customers who are pulling their money out of these banks that may potentially fail, a lot of them are actually going into Bitcoin or using Bitcoin to transfer to a different bank. They're using it as a vessel, and that makes a ton of sense, which is why this thing pumped $7,000 in 2.5 days. The high day was 26,500. Towards the end of the day, in the last hour of the day, it dropped $1,500, and now it's trading back under 25,000. I was going to give congrats to Bitcoin bulls because I thought maybe this was the first sign of Bitcoin being an alternative currency, not just an asset, a currency. Hey, our dollars aren't good here. We're going to go into Bitcoin. But then at the end of the day, it failed, and basically the comments around it were people, based on the price action, it does seem like people are just using it to actually move money, not to invest in it and hold it. I'm sure some stick around and they hold on to it, but that we'll see how that one performs going forward. Also destroys the narrative that Bitcoin is the most stable of the currencies, which I think the past 36 hours proved that completely wrong. You can't be bouncing around 10-15% in days and call yourself a sound currency or stable. There's also comments about people leaving the USDC stablecoin because that lost its peg when signature went down. I think it went back. I think it stayed back to 1, which is par for it. USDC. But a lot of people left USDC. It's a little bit below. I mean, this thing was it's got down to 88 cents. That's 12% off its peg, but then rally back up when the government basically said we're bailing these companies out and your funds will be fine. Now it's 98, which is almost there, but certainly not pushed to the edge of the pushed to the brink, I should say. So we'll see how Bitcoin goes moving forward. If people hang on to it or cash out, we shall see. It looks like people are leaving a little bit at the end of the day here. All right, and then I'll finish on, because I just love this stock, is ENVX. This thing was up 13% today, and then it was red for most of the morning. It actually closed back close to its high. 11.29 was the high. It closed at 11.11, well over the $11 mark. This thing's short interest has increased over the past few days. And now the short increase is 19 million. 19 million shares. I forget how many are outstanding. Give me a hot second. Just a little bit close. Yeah, that's okay. It's not showing me. It's not showing me. What's going on here, fellas? Yeah, my screens are messed up. Sorry. I think shares outstanding. I think there's ENVX shares outstanding. The ultimate thing is the fact that shorts are increasing on this is pretty ridiculous. All right, so 157 million shares outstanding, 19 million short. What is that? 157. That's about 13% of the short interest, and increasing. These guys just hired the all-star team from the spans of Amazon, Meta, Micron, Qualcomm, Lam Research. So they got marketing, research, and fabrication, manufacturing, chips, all in-house now. They got a conference tomorrow with JP Morgan. They're having meetings with potential investors this week, and people are shorting it. If these guys come out with one announcement about funding or new partnership, breaking ground in the manufacturing plant, this thing can rock $2-3 in a day easily on short interest alone, but also just on merit. These guys have broke the downtrend. The whole narrative around them is changing, but old habits die hard, which is sometimes short sellers just continue doing what has been working and hoping it will continue to work. But in this case, they're 100% wrong, and it looked like they added today because there were some pretty big sell orders. But I mean, go look at that chart. They did 0 damage. They actually got caught offsides, even more. So we shall see. Hopefully tomorrow will bring some more clarity at the JP conference and JP Morgan conference. And maybe we'll get some insight on their meetings. But I mean, these guys are the future. No batteries like this, and they're already producing it. So it's not even like they're a startup. It's just nuts. More insider buys by these guys. TJ Rogers bought another 65,000 shares. I mean, when insiders are picking up shares, you know they know. So shorts are on shorts be warned. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty fucking clear on this one. But to each their own, and, I don't wish financial ruin for anybody, but the shorts on this one are definitely playing with fire. The other thing is they've been shorting since about $7. Who shorts a $7 stock? If these guys went and shorted, Signature or Silvergate, yeah, then they'd make money. But a $7 stock, your upside's $7. Because there's not a lot of option volume in this thing, so it's not like they're buying puts and cashing in hard. They're literally, and the data is all commons anyway, so they're just selling a $7 stock and hoping for the best. Ether is making lows as we talk. Bitcoin is as well. Should be interesting going forward. This will be my last one of the week, my last live stream. I'm going to I'm taking 3 days off, but I'll see if I can pop on actually and do a quick live from the streets of Denver. I think that's it. Carl Icahn puts went from $25-$30 all the way up to $148. Oh, maybe he did cash somehow. There's a big spike in volume, 10,000. Oh, that's 60. That was today. Yeah, I bet he cashed out some before he went on. Wow. Yeah, he did it right at the open, too. Anyways, those are back to $53, so, not bad at all, Nicholas. All right, I guess I'll get out of these. All right, and that'll do it for me. Thank you all for watching. Hit subscribe. I'll be back. Follow me on Instagram at Krycopter, Krycopter. And that'll do it. Good luck. Be safe. This market's nuts. And I love y'all. Be good. Bye.